Let me tell you of what probably would be the biggest scandal, biggest oil scandal. It is what the finance ministry says is perhaps Ghana's biggest oil find. Now, Aker Energy's almost 1 billion barrels of potential recoverable reserves, which is worth at least $30 billion according to IMANI Africa. Now, that policy think tank is saying that government is giving away Ghana's interest in that find. IMANI says Aker Energy found the oil after the license to explore had expired, meaning that oil is still for Ghana. But the government of Ghana is not interested in securing its negotiated shares, even though Aker Energy has breached the laws of the land, thereby giving Ghana the upper hand in its negotiations. They accused Chief Executive of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, of conflict of interest in this matter, something he denies. There's been a news conference today where experts in the area have been sharing their views on this.
Agreements under which Aker is working actually is supposed to last up to 2036. Now, they have asked for an extension up to 2049, but the Petroleum Commission says that they are going to grant them that extension because of its loss. If you recall, its loss happened in 2015, right? Yeah, 2015, and it was ruled in 2017. Its loss is the arbitration, the international. You know, Ghana Cote d'Ivoire had this problem, maritime dispute over who actually owns some aspects of our oil. And I think it lost ruled that we own everything. In fact, we won the case hands down. Now, for the Petroleum Commission to suggest that because Aker's find is inhibited or was inhibited by its loss, and so they are going to grant them, they believe that the minister should grant an extension of up to 2049, 13 more years, is actually worrying. I thought I should put this out. The second point also is that the economics of the analysis that the Petroleum Commission puts out suggests that Aker's find, as we speak, is about 297 million barrels of oil. Now, the understanding is that if we're looking at that accounting, what it means is that Ghana is going to get about 55% of the rent, economic rent from that. The argument being made is that we are making the argument from IMANI that because we know, and Aker has actually confirmed that the recoverable assets are up to almost $1 billion, what it means is that if we argue our point that the existing additional wells, the 2 wells that were found, and whose, should I say, assets are close to about 500 million barrels of oil, should come under a new petroleum agreement, what it means is that the fiscals will work in our favor. So there's a lot that is wrong with this agreement, and I think that both the Petroleum Commission should not just be, and then the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, right, should not be giving opinions in the dark. If the minister is not going to listen to them by the end of today, they must also come out with what they are saying. And I think it's important to put this in perspective.
It is clear that the principal problem we have at this point is the preparedness of officialdom to follow through in the national interest, to follow through on agreements made. That for me is a problem. How do we ensure that those who represent us, who speak for us, present the national interest thoroughly at all times? There are 1 or 2 things I want to add to the discussion. And that is to do with the question of oversight. Who oversees the performance of agreements at this level? It is Parliament, and I would argue that the Council of State, which, as you know, has powers to advise the President on virtually any matter whatsoever. So my concern is, 1, where is Parliament on this matter? 2, where is the Council of State on this matter? And 3, where are the media on this matter? I think it's very important for us to appreciate that in order to ensure the substantive improvement in our condition, both officials and all of us have obligations. We need to make sure that our concerns and our voices are heard at all times. In this connection, one thing which is also important is information. Mr. Bentley's presentation was very competent, but it pointed out at various stages the information gap. Am I right? Yeah. And that is for people like him and IMANI and the bodies that work with him who are well placed to get information. How about all of us? We've only recently been able to get our parliament to pass the Right to Information Bill into an act to come into effect, I gather, sometime next year. Fine. I have argued, and I'll argue again, we need to go beyond that. Because that act requires you to look for the information. There is cost in terms of resources, time, and there's a margin of discretion in the officialdom which will limit what you can get and when you can get it. I have argued that we need to look at a different regime, what is called open contracting. It's a new concept in this country. Essentially, what it says is that every public contract ought to be made publicly available immediately it is concluded.
Professor Akilakwasoya there, ending that presentation by IMANI Africa. Well, we've been trying to get reactions from Chief Executive of the GNPC, Dr. KK Sapong. He says he'll respond at an appropriate time, but he's given us permission to quote him, and he said, and here's what he says that we've put together in these graphics. He says, "I will respond appropriately very soon, but I vehemently deny all the accusations leveled against me by IMANI and a section of the media. Have they verified from the Registrar General's office?" So that's a quote from Dr. KK Sapong. Well, let's get on the line now and speak to IMANI Africa's Kofi Bento, who joins me on the line now. Hello, Mr. Bento.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bento. Thank you very much for your time. Now, we've heard your argument in that press conference, but we've also had a response from Dr. KK Sapong. I'll have you respond to that quickly, and then we'll look at the release, the press release that you sent across. Dr. KK Sapong is asking whether or not you have gone to the Registrar General to check, to do some checks. He is denying all the allegations against him. What's your response?
Well, I'm not sure what allegation he's denying, and I am responsible for what I said. And we've done our check here. I said fuel trade is allegedly owned by Dr. KK Sapong or his family. And we understand that there are members of his family involved in fuel trade. So whoever has the beneficial ownership of what, I think we can all check, and we have done our check. But I said it is allegedly owned or controlled by himself or his family. If that is the situation, we want clarification. We said also that we are very much in favor of Ghanaian participation in our oil. Indeed, I said in the presentation that even if he owns, it does not presume anything per se. It is just a worrying situation, and that clarification must be given. Because if he is negotiating on our behalf against a company in which he has an interest, clearly that will raise a problem. So like we kept on saying, We just want the clarification. And there are other people who will take a more serious position on this because of things they know. But we will restrict ourselves to what we can do. So I think there's no cause for alarm. Dr. Kikisapo can come forward and then make his rebuttal to what we have said. But our information is that he has some control over fuel trade, or his family has some control over fuel trade. It is just for him to come and clarify that, well, there's nothing we should be worried about.
So when he says that he says he owns no shares in this company, and that you need to check with the Registrar General. When he says that he owns no shares, does that suffice for you as an answer in terms of the clarification you say you're seeking?
Honestly, the point still stands. We are not, going to, go into the weeds concerning this particular issue. If Dr. Kikisapo owns no shares, but his family owns shares, there are very many different concepts of beneficial ownership. Okay, we are making a general point. He may not even own anything. There are situations where the person doesn't own anything, but it does not mean that the influence is not there. We are saying that there is allegation that fuel trade is owned or controlled by himself or his family. It's, for him to say that, look, even if it was true, it does not mean he's doing anything untoward. The point is, he must come and confirm to us that this is the situation and there's nothing we should fear. And if we have further information, we will put it out. But for now, I don't think there's anything to, worry about at all.
So let's say, let's assume that this gives you some sort of clarity, because that's basically the point you raised. Have you gone further, to the ministries, etc., to seek this clarification that you want on this matter?
Yes, we have done our checks. And our checks, yes, confirm the fact that, yes, it is alleged again, I said that he has some control of some interest there. The books do not show that he has a certain particular ownership, but like I said, it is himself or his family. And in the past, people who have anecdotal evidence about his role in this or that, all those things put together, we are saying that if that is the situation, it is worrying. If it is not, okay, simply come and say it is not, and he has no influence whatsoever. However, as a country, as Ghana, okay, we must be, aware. Okay, if even he used to run it in the past, or he has some control over it in the past, but he does not have the control now, we need to figure out and see whether our best interest is served, okay, by Dr. Kikisapo being where he is. And this is one point where we raised to say that, look, it looks like a number of things happen in relation to this particular company called Aker, and it doesn't seem like we are being able, to, control them well, or even, exact what we need to exact from them. And people clearly will find, or will be looking for reasons why we are not able to. And we raised this as one of the possible concerns. If it is not an issue, fine, let's go and look for the actual issue. The fact remains that as a country, we have not dealt with Aker the way we ought to deal with them. And I'm not saying that we should drive them away or make their life miserable in Ghana in any way. We need them to prospect our oil and to share the revenue with us. What we are talking about is that by law, we are entitled to things that we, Ghana, have not asserted our rights over. And I said in the presentation that, look, I am not happy with how Aker conducts itself. But it is not for me to go and blame Aker. It is for me to ask my leaders what they have done. And we said that as of, yesterday, we were not aware, even if there has been a response to the TOD that they submitted almost a month ago. We are not being told that today it has been sent. All right, why all that delay? Why do we sit and allow things to go on this way? We have said things we have read in the Aker POD, where Aker have put in conditions to ask Ghana, which is totally against the law, totally unconscionable, and totally unacceptable. But we sat down all this while and not said anything. So our problem is with our own leaders. It is not really with Aker. We have to get up and take what is rightfully ours.
Okay. You indicated in your press release that the agreements that Aker had or Aker had lapsed in 2014, and you say it's your considered view that the additional oil discovered in 2019 are essentially not covered. Have you had any evidence to back the fact that there has not been any renegotiation of sorts between Aker and the government of Ghana?
I didn't get the last part of your question. I want to have evidence about what?
Whether or not there has been some some kind of renegotiation because between 2014 and 2019, whether or not there has been any renegotiation of what they had earlier, what Aker had earlier, between Aker and the government of Ghana?
Our information is that there's been no new petroleum agreement. Aker is still working under the petroleum agreement that they inherited from HED. Okay. And under that agreement, the expiration period has elapsed. We are not aware of any new petroleum agreement, and we have stated that according to the law, the new finding of oil does not come under that petroleum agreement, and therefore there has to be a new petroleum agreement.
Okay.
That has not happened, and that is what we are asking the government to clarify all.
Okay. What other options are you looking at beyond this media engagement to get your requests or your demands met?
Well, we are actually asking that our government clarify what the position is. Like I said, we said that as of yesterday, there has been no response, and tomorrow is the deadline. Okay, after our forum, we have been told that as of today, okay, the letter has been sent. So if indeed, as of today, the government has entered a new PA, it will be fine for us to learn, what is in that one.
Okay.
What we have to do, or what we can do as citizens, is continue to be vigilant, and we promise that we will be vigilant in this matter. The fact is that the law gives us certain rights. If our government fails to exact those rights for the benefit of Ghana, we might have to just go to the court and clarify what the law says, and if we cannot by ourselves get the court to make a declaration on who owns that oil or sections or portions of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bentel, for your time and for answering those questions. Kofi Bentel is Vice President of IMANI Africa. They have a major concern with the operation of Aker, which is a Norwegian energy firm. They have, of course, raised concerns about dealings between the company and GNPC boss KK Sapon. KK Sapon says he owns no shares. He says they still want some clarifications.